Ember.js has brought me in, so I'm doing JavaScript a lot these days and having a good time. But today I'm going to talk about animating in JavaScript. So, you've probably seen memes online, just cute little cartoon characters being a little bit sassy, a little bit attitude, telling you to chill out and deal with it. So deal with it, it's kind of an older one, been around since '05. Elements of deal with it, right? Conflict or attitude, sunglasses, and then usually the text deal with it or some riff thereon. So technical elements to deal with it. All right, static or animated, base images, sunglasses, text. So that's what we're going to be dealing with today. So examples of dealing with it, right? So very simple, like you can tell. A lot of these are little stories, and sorry if you haven't seen the movie yet, or here we have Godzilla. So doing that. Also cats. So lots of good material to work with. But a lot of this stuff is done with GIF. So all those things you just saw were GIFs. And they're really simple. You get 256 colors per frame. One of those colors can be labeled as an alpha. So you can have 255 and then alpha. So you can just have transparent. And then it supports animation. And you're supposed to say it GIF. And then JPEG, right? That's what you get out of your cameras, but there's no animations there, and they're a lot more complex to consider. So that's it. So what we're doing today, we're going to be drawing onto the screen. We're going to be moving stuff around, and we're going to be exporting it. So, all right, what are your options in HTML land? You've got Canvas and you've got SVG, right? So Canvas is very much all about setting the color at a location. It has text rendering, but it's not as good as you might like. It feels a little kludgy. It does not have animation support. But there are GIF exporting libraries that support it, so pretty attractive there. But SVG is a lot cooler, so you actually describe shapes, not just their points, but you describe their curves and kind of how they're laid out. And it's a lot more like HTML, so SVG is not just a bitmap in memory, it's actually DOM elements that get rendered for you. But as that DOM gets more complex, you are going to slow down. And there's no GIF exporting libraries for SVG. But you can render SVG into Canvas and then convert it. But, we're not going to do that. The winner is Canvas. Right, so this is actually a little Canvas demo. I didn't write this. It's just what you find on JSBin when they're trying to show off what they can do. So you can see there's, they're filling in rectangles, and there's some path stuff, a little bit of shape stuff, a lot of like fill commands. So it's all pretty low level. They got this draw loop, and they're doing some math here. I would imagine this is not how the SVG would look. It would be a lot more declarative, and you would let the browser do the work. But Canvas is pretty good. It renders just fine. My computer's not getting too warm or anything. So how do you do animations in Canvas? All right, well, you're going to render that whole rectangle. You're going to wait a little bit, and then you're going to render that canvas again. You're just going to do that over and over and over again, and that's how you're going to animate it. So, what are we going to do for our app to work around this? we're gonna work out some XY points for animating the sunglasses. We're gonna put the image into the canvas. We're gonna render some text, and then we're gonna just render that canvas and then render it again and let the web browser take care of swapping them out. So you're not gonna get any kind of like weird blitting patterns or anything like that. It's gonna look pretty smooth. It'll just render slowly if it's gonna render slowly. So how do you manage the XY locations? You track the mouse as it travels over the canvas element, right? And so you measure where the mouse is over time. So we're gonna let the user click and drag inside of the canvas and draw a path for the sunglasses. So this is some Ember code, but don't worry about it too much. Heather did a good job of teaching you everything you need to know. So, we're going to have this master array that's going to be really important called steps, and we're going to support the user clicking and dragging. So we're not just going to let the mouse go into the canvas and just kind of track that. We have to have the user go into the canvas and then click and drag. So we have to track whether they have clicked or not. And then as the mouse moves, we have to get that event from the web browser and then convert it into the XY points. And so you'll see that there's this relative mouse chords that is being called. That is something I had to go and find with the magic of Stack Overflow, and I'll show that next. But that gives you really accurate XY location inside the element, and then we just push that XY into our steps array, the one from the first line, and then we draw a line. So that's what we're going to be doing with mouse move. So this code, I found it online. How does it work? I didn't really have to work out the details that this author did, but essentially what it does is it works out where the DOM element, the canvas, is located in the entire document, and it has to change the offset based on parent elements. So what it does is it actually traverses all the parents of the canvas element and calculates a bunch of offsets, and then does all that work for me, because when I first wrote this code, I noticed that I was clicking and dragging inside the canvas element, and my X and Y locations were kind of kooky, and I didn't know why. So found this pretty helpful. All right, and then here's some canvas code for how you're gonna draw the line. So you actually have to get all of the steps. This user has been drawing a line, and they have a list of XY coordinates. We have to kind of draw a line from A to B to C to D to E to F, for every element in steps. So we have to tell Canvas we are going to start a line, and then we have to use this line to method and just kind of jump around XY location. Then we have to tell Canvas to fill in that path. So you don't actually see the line being drawn A to B to C to D. You just see the whole line from A to D. So that's what you get here. So now we have a little bit of a demo. This is a much smaller screen than I thought I would have. I apologize. How do I minimize this right away?
How do you want this to get bigger?
Yeah, so.
Forwarding this himself.
Yeah, so here's our canvas element. Let's make the thing smaller. And here I am. I'm clicking and dragging, drawing a line over here. Pretty cool, right? Okay, that was it. So now you're thinking, let's get to the sunglasses. All right, so I found a picture online of very suitable sunglasses, and we're gonna put those into the canvas somehow, and we're gonna let the user click and drag and move the sunglasses. So they'll have the dotted, they'll have the line, but it's a lot easier if you see the sunglasses. So really easy, loading image into the DOM, just like you do every day. Just put it in there with an image tag, and I set it to display none because I don't want it to show up in the DOM. I just want the data in the DOM. So put it there, hide it, I'll take care of it. So how do you put it into the canvas? Pretty easy. Here I'm using jQuery. Go and fetch the element, and then you use a canvas command called drawImage, which surprisingly enough lets you put that image into the canvas at an X and Y, and then optionally you can set a scaling width and height. So the sunglasses I found were way too big, so I thought, oh, I can resize them on my desktop, or I can just resize them when I'm drawing them into the canvas, and a lot easier to let canvas do the work. Okay, and so now we're going to change that mouse move a little bit. So still, if you're holding down the mouse, I'm going to record the points and put them into the steps, but then I'm going to draw the glasses at that point. So the way that works is just like that code you saw before, but this is a lot closer to what's in my actual application. And then one thing I didn't point out is when you get the canvas DOM element, all those commands that you're doing on the canvas element are using a quote-unquote 2D context, because as you guys may know, there is now WebGL. So WebGL is the 3D version of Canvas. We're not using it, we're using 2D, but if we were to use 3D, we would change that string right there, and then we'd have a whole different API that we'd have to use. Okay. Bunch of stuff. So here we are. Pretty cool, right? Well, actually, there's a little bit of a problem. Do you guys see it? Okay. It is not undoing what I had, what had been drawn before. So, that's what I'm saying about Canvas, is that you're just putting bits onto a 2D plane. You're just putting points on it, pixels. And, as I'm calling successive draw images, it's just putting them on top of each other. So, okay, that was kind of a surprise. Had you guys going there? Okay, not what I wanted, Okay, so let's use something called clear rect. I wonder what that does. So a lot like what we had before, but now I've added this one little thing here, clear rect. So we're going to start at the origin 0, 0, and we're just going to cover the whole canvas in clear, whatever that means. And we're just going to make it blank. And this is a lot better than using any other, like drawing a rectangle or anything like that. This is an optimized path in Canvas. They must have known we'd be doing something like this. So here we go. So come on over.
Discovered it very quickly.
What's that?
So even if they didn't know, as soon as they started playing with what they'd built, they would discover it very quickly.
Right, they must have been let down. Yeah, so, oh yeah, that is nice. Oh, that's cool. That is what I want. Okay, great. All right, so, what we're going to do now is we're going to get rid of clear rect. It's nice, but I want to put a picture in there, and we're going to put in a picture of me. Okay, so I've got a picture up on S3, put it in the DOM, let my web browser put it in memory and take care of it for me. And I'm going to write this new function, draw background. So a lot like everything else you saw, but we're just going to draw this image that I've set in the Ember model background. Don't worry about too much, but this .get background returns the DOM element, and whenever the Ember view is shown, whenever it gets rendered to the DOM, it will call draw background for me. So I'm just telling Ember, whenever you show my code, make sure you call this. So, okay, cool. So how are we going to do, all the layering? Because we've only ever had one command going on at once. We were either drawing a line or we were drawing sunglasses. And here, I'm going to do the background and the line and the glasses all together in the mouse event. So first you have to draw the background. So you have to totally clobber whatever's in the canvas and set it up so that you can draw on top of it. If you did the draw background after you did the draw line or the draw glasses, it'd be worthless. You wouldn't be able to see what you had drawn before because it's all in one fell swoop. So do that. Okay. I don't know if I have a demo for that one. Nope. Jump the gun. All right. Actually, that might have been it. Let's do that. Let's see what this is. So there's me, being cool, showing some attitude. So just draw some sunglasses. Oh man, that's gonna be awesome. But there you go. Pretty cool. Now it's starting to take shape, and you know where this is going. All right. Okay, so cool. I drew the sunglasses onto an image. It looked pretty good. It was pretty smooth, but at the end of letting go of the mouse, like I don't really have anything else I can do here. I'm looking at it. I can click again and I can keep dragging it, and it'll layer the background, the line, and the sunglasses the right way, but there's nothing else I can do. So now we're going to do playback. So I've been pushing all of these points into a list, and now I'm going to start playing around with timers to see if I can't, play back what the user has done. So as they've been moving the mouse over the DOM, I've been recording what they've done, and now I'm going to clear the canvas and do it all over again, but they're not going to have to lift a finger. So I've added this function, start animation. Right? So first step, draw the background. Put that image of me up there, and then fetch some local variables for steps, and I got a frame cursor, and then I'm going to be messing around with anonymous functions. So I have to make sure to set self equal to this. So the heavy lifter here is window set timeout. So you can tell the web browser, hey, run this function in a bit. And so we're going to do all the work of calculating when it should be running this function. So the way that works, just a for loop, and so it's going to use the animation speed, which I set to 30, so 30 milliseconds. And so I'm going to essentially play back what the user did every 30 milliseconds. So it's going to draw the background, draw the line at that point, and draw the glasses. And another nice thing that it does is it keeps track of the return value from set timeout, which is a timer object. It's actually just an integer, just a number, but we don't really care. We can use it later for some fun stuff. Cool. Okay, so I've gone ahead and added some stuff to the screen that's kind of embery, and you don't really need to hear about it right now. It's in the source code that you'll have access to if you're curious. But here you can tell I'm adding frames, adding steps, Boom. Cool. So now I've added this start animation. Oh, snap. This is so cool. Oh, wow. That is good. Man, it's better every time I look at it.
Deal with it.
All right. So, you know, we've been tracking all those timer objects, and we can call clear timeout. So, you know, we can cancel that animation in the middle of it. So, you know, if it's animating, right? It's in the middle. I can be like, oh, I don't want to see this anymore, and it'll go away.
But why would you ever do that?
Right. I mean, it's the emergency off switch.
You find yourself incapable of dealing with it in the moment.
That can be a problem. So, you know, now, you know, we really have this thing coming together. It's got a background image. You can author a path for the sunglasses. You can play them back. Man, this is pretty cool. But it's missing a really important part, which is the deal with the text. So this is kind of a funky part of drawing, because you have to call this set font thing. And set font, it's actually like a global state on the canvas. So before you render text, you have to switch the font, then render the text. And if you're going to change the font, you have to do it like globally. You have to go get the canvas object and change its font. So, you know, it's a lot different than you'd imagine, because in HTML you can just set that font on the tag and then let the web browser do the work. But here, you know, we have to like switch it constantly, like render some text, switch the font, render some text, switch the font. But, you know, all right, cool. Just kind of wrap that up with a set font helper. Call draw text, and so that calls the set font, and this is using an Ember property, so you can actually change the font in the UI I'm going to be showing you next. And then you just say draw text, and you give it the XY location, and it does all the work of figuring out how to show the letters at the right size. So that's pretty handy. And then you have to, you know, call the stroke argument so that it'll actually fill it in. So let's see. All right. Well, there's a bunch of stuff that I added here, but essentially, you do this, bring it in, it autoplays now. Deal with it. So. Pretty cool. So, you know, you can change the font, do whatever you want. One thing you can't do is change where it goes. Just a little bit of a shortcoming in this build of the software. Cool. So here comes the exporting GIF part, which I have to tell you doesn't actually work. And I will tell you why. There's this cool library called GIF.js, and it uses web workers and other cool stuff. I think he was just having fun. I don't know if you need them on like one of the latest computers. You wouldn't even notice. But what it does is you get this GIF object, and it has this cool helper add frame, and you can actually just give it the canvas element, and it will copy all of the data from canvas into the GIF object, and you don't have to worry about it. It's pretty cool. And it's also got this timer here, so you can actually set the delay between frames as you're adding them. So that's pretty handy. And then you can render it, and it just has a little callback, because if you do like a really, really long one, it can take a while. So you can just have it wake you up when it's done. There's that. But there's this problem with security in modern web browsers where, you know, you could add a image tag into the DOM, which references a local file. So, you know, you could go to Gmail, and there could be an image tag in there that goes to /users/admin/secret.png, and it could, you know, it could request a file from on your computer and put it into memory, and then, that's cool, but there's no, at that point, we haven't talked about how you could send Canvas data out, so it's still safe. You've brought it into the browser state, but there's no way for it to leave, except this GIF library uses the Canvas serializer. So you can actually take that frame and then like base64 encode it and walk away with it. So you got this problem where, if you haven't set up the permissions properly, you don't want somebody to open up just any old file on your computer and then put it into the Canvas and then serialize it and then send it off in a post request. So I spent time today trying to get that working. Part of the problem is that I'm doing all this stuff in JSBin, which is mixing JavaScript from like all kinds of weird places, and I just didn't get around to fixing it. But if I got it all on xavierlang.com, I would be able to use this. But so you've got that GIF object, and you have to create these Canvas elements for each point in time, and then successively play them back into the GIF object. And so this is a lot like the timer code you saw, except it doesn't use any timer stuff. It just does it in one for loop. So again, you draw the background, you draw a line, you draw the glasses, and then you add it to the GIF, and finally you would render it. So this is what I wanted to get working, but didn't get around to it. Yeah, so like I said, serialization fails, all kinds of fun stuff. And then, you want to see the final version. So you can tell the steps over here, 101. And then you can say clear, all right, everything's gone. And then, you could bring it back, hit it like that. You can start it, cancel it. You can add the line if you wanted to review what kind of path it was going to take. So do that. So just all kinds of fun, stateful stuff that was easy to do with Ember. And then if I had the JavaScript console open, I would hit this button, and it would give a lot of ugly security errors that nobody wants to solve.